Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Million Mom Movement community. My name is Michelle, and I've been with the Million Mom Movement for about 8 months now. And I'm passionate about this mission because, well, I mean, what's not to be passionate about? We've got the best products, the best company, the best team lineage. We have the best owners, and I have the distinct honor to be joined by the Million Mom Movement Council member, Toss, Naeva, and Carmela, who inspire me daily, not only by the way they show up for their own business, but the way they show up for this entire field and how hard they work in the background to provide excellent services, resources, and even the scholarship program that we have going on. So what's not to love? Welcome. Today is May 5th, and we are launching part 2 of our digital recipe book, which is filled with nutritious and delicious recipes to kickstart your healthy eating habits. And I'm so excited to share this with you and the Million Moms. Favorite ways to elevate your meals with fresh seasonal ingredients. Our recipe book is packed with mouth-watering dishes and that are easy to make, packed with nutrients. And I have to tell you that we got started with this flip book and realized we have endless wonderful submissions from the field, that we have to release this in 3 parts. And we're also realizing that we can't possibly get all the recipes we want into this digital book. So stay tuned, because the council is looking for ways to publish a full in-hand cookbook that will include all the recipes and our sad to rad in one place. And for now, we just appreciate your patience as we drip this onto the field. And we're going to have links for you today. So that's exciting as we continue to edit and release. We'll have one more part for you next week. So first of all, I want to get started. If you guys remember last week, we had such a great episode where the original members of the council and the chair of the council, Stephanie Dawn and Joe Parker, were featured and got to co-host last week. It was really fantastic. Great to see them back and in their element. And if you remember, there was a mention about the appeal label, and it comes up as a very mysterious topic that we know little about. So we're going to unpack that a little bit more today. We're going to start with Naeva, who's going to cover our In the News piece on this subject. And then we're going to follow with just a couple of comments and insights from the council on this topic. So take it away, Naeva.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And I actually just got my kids off to school and did not get those pages pulled up. So let me just pull up those pages real quick. Bear with me. Mom life always, right? We're always just rolling with it as things come up in our field. And so let me just pull up these pages so that way I can share these in the news pieces with you. Today, we're going to be kind of following up off of some of the segments that Jody Parker had shared with us a couple weeks ago on this label appeal that we've been seeing everywhere and what that really means, right? As we dig deeper into just learning together, this is something that has just been in our field quite a bit, and we wanted to share it with you again and just continue to share on this topic. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. So 3 reasons English cucumbers come wrapped in plastic. And, we don't like seeing the plastic, but what is in this appeal label, this appeal coating that is all over our vegetables that they're now putting out? The reason they're doing it is because they want to eliminate plastic wrapping. But then what is this appeal label really made out of? So it's something that we're going to see more and more on our avocados and cucumbers and tomatoes and different, especially soft peeled vegetables that often come wrapped in plastic. So cucumbers are one of the few products I keep stocked in my kitchen year round as a key ingredient to some of my favorite dishes. And our recipe book has lots of yummy cucumber recipes as well. So this is something that's really important to just be in the know about. There are a few varieties of cucumbers to choose at the local grocery store for snacking. I reached for small Persian cucumbers nestled in groups of 5 or 6 in a cardboard tray wrapped in plastic. And so this is, from this writer here at Simple Recipes. For pretty much anything else, English cucumbers are my go-to with the palatable skin and small seeds. They're easy to prepare and taste delicious in our favorite cucumber-centric dishes. So here are 3 reasons why English cucumbers are sold in plastic. So plastic wrap helps keep moisture in, so it helps those cucumbers not get dried out or go bad as fast. We all know that cucumbers, you put them in the fridge and within a few days they start to, decompose basically. And so by wrapping them in plastic, they're keeping the moisture in and they're keeping them from spoiling as fast. And the plastic wrap presents bruising and scrapes. It also helps the decay and causing oxygen. So it helps keep it out of the cucumbers. So that way they don't spoil as fast. So the best way to store your cucumbers is I usually put them in a glass container with a lid on it. That helps to seal the moisture in and the air out. So
You
they
want
don't.
me to try it or not?
Oh, will you mute out? We have somebody off mute. So you know that all of us here in our community, we don't like the single-use plastic. So what's the alternative? Several companies are working on a storage solution with English cucumbers that cuts down the plastic waste. That's 100% compostable cucumber wrap made from starch-based material meant to decompose. So, and this is the Apeel. Apeel Sciences has come up with a solution that keeps cucumbers and a whole host of other produce fresh by creating edible coating. So edible coating, that's really questionable because we don't know what this Apeel coating is really made of, or if these ingredients that they say are plant-based, if those plant-based are organic. In many cases, there's genetically modified foods, or like cornstarch, for instance, oftentimes is genetically modified corn. And so if that's what they're using to coat our organic fruits and vegetables, then that's not necessarily the best solution, right? We don't want to be coating our food with this type of coating. And so some farms have already made the switch to Apeel, and there's a good chance their produces are popping up in grocery stores near you. So we're going to share this whole article in our Million Mom Movement official, so you can dive more into these different links that are within this article. And then that way you can kind of do your own research of if this is something that you align with and if you want to feed it to your family. I have one other article to share from. And this is the startup of using polymer science to make avocados last longer. And it just scored a deal at Costco. So this polymer science is Apeel. And you can see here up the top, Startup Apeel, founded by Andreessen Horowitz and Bill Gates. And it just scored, a big deal with selling their produce at Costco. So if you shop at Costco, make sure that you're looking at the produce that you're purchasing and making sure it doesn't have this label on it, or at least just educate yourself to see if it's something that you align with and that you don't mind feeding your family. Oftentimes these coating are hard to wash off. And so, you could soak it in a bowl with some vinegar and some salt to try to break down whatever this coating is. But oftentimes they're saying it's edible. And in a lot of cases, it's not you can't wash it off. Like glyphosate, for instance, it gets sprayed on corn and different foods. You can't wash it off of our food. And so I would just say that this label or this coating might be very similar. So I'm not going to go through the whole article. I'll just share it with you real quick. Costco and grocery store chains, Harp Food stores have begun selling avocados coated with the Apeel's products, which Rogers says doubles the amount of time they can stay on the store shelves before spoiling. The move could give retailers a leg up on the competitive grocery business by reducing supply cost. A recent study by ReFed, an organization comprised of nonprofit groups like the Rockefeller Foundation and big food companies like General Mills and Walmart, reports food waste costs in the U.S. retailers more than $18 billion. So there's pros and cons to every situation. We're just wanting to educate more about maybe some of the concerns that we have around this label being on our fruits and vegetables, especially our organic fruits and vegetables, as we don't really know what this coating is made of. So I'll go ahead and share these articles in the chat here, as well as in our Million Mom Movement official group when we post the replay. And I'll pass it back to you, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Naeva. Yeah, I want to hear from my council members as well, and I'm going to chime in on this before we get to the recipe book, because it is important to educate yourself, and we have so much more power than we realize. We get to vote with our dollar. If you want a fresh cucumber, go to the grocery store every other day and get the cucumber, or find your local farmer and get your cucumbers, or find ways to store them like Naiva is talking about. And potentially, if this doesn't align with you, avoid the label altogether. Again, what kind of vegetable is this made out of? It's a vegetable polymer. How was it grown? Is it a genetically modified crop? Is it sprayed with decanting agents? How is it manufactured? Like, we just know nothing about it. So yes, it could be great that it's this vegetable coating, but we really don't know what it is. And the more we look, the less transparency we see or we don't see, right? So we're hearing a lot, we're doing all this digging and we're finding articles, and it's talking about, what food waste is costing major manufacturers, and we're finding out what their pain point is, but we know nothing about what the product is that's actually being sprayed on our food. And there's more and more frankenfoods and everyday toxins that are coming up in our lives, and it feels like the diligence can be exhausting, but really, if you just let go of that and realize that you have far more power than you understand, and you just start to look at how to empower yourselves. And that's why it's so wonderful to have this resource of the Million Mom Movement, where we're getting to the truth and we're confronting these organizations and these companies, or at least helping to educate people on things like these coatings, like glyphosate. So you take something organic and then you coat it with something that could have glyphosate. What's the point here? So we just want to educate and show people that we can go and get fresh fruits and vegetables. So let's take the power back as a field. I, for one, am going to be avoiding this label. I really don't give my money to Bill Gates. And I know that, I have a college age student. We have many kids in his class that actually got college funding from the Bill Gates Foundation. I understand that there's pluses and minuses. Personally, for me, it's not where I spend my money, and how I vote with my dollar is in organizations that he has his hand in. I'm really interested to hear from the council, Carmela and Taz, on how they feel about this label and going forward, how they might approach these products. So I invite you to come on. Carmela, you want to start, or Taz, go ahead. I see you're both unmuted, so have at it.
Well, I love how you started out. First, it's to inform and to help you guys have tools to share on, because we should always be questioning, and we should help our clients question. So as we question with them, we want to bring up what's current. And really, we're still in question. We still don't know where they're going. So let's follow their journey and let's have these conversations. Just like we're having conversations with our children about how they're to avoid the chemicals, there's still more that are popping up, unfortunately. And as we learn about them, when we shop with our families, we can start to become more aware of label reading. Taz?
Yeah, so I love what you both ladies are saying. So it brings me to, when glyphosate started 30 years ago and people were bringing up this topic, they really didn't know what it was. But it was only decades later that everything, problems, issues started happening to people's health. I feel we're going through the same transformation. We're going through another up level in the food, in the toxicity in our foods. So this is a way to educate all of you on what to avoid. So like Michelle and Carmela, I will be avoiding this label completely, because you vote with your dollars. And the more we are vocal at the stores that we will not be supporting these companies and these labels, you know what happens? Supply and demand, right? And we provide a demand. So I will be not buying any of these. I will be going to my local farmers. And now that I live in Florida, I can grow my own cucumbers. Cucumbers are one of the easiest things to grow. I do not have a green thumb at all, but I can do sprouts and I can do cucumber. And I would encourage all of you, if you can have some type of They have these indoor things that you can grow your own foods. If we can look to doing that and implementing little small steps for ourselves and our families, I mean, we can avoid these altogether. We can connect to what we're eating. We can smell, we can taste. I mean, we are awakening all of our senses. And you know what we're doing with that? We're teaching our families. We're teaching our families to do the same. Back to you, Michelle.
I love that. And, you know, this is a pain point. This was developed because of a pain point of major corporations. If we were supporting our farmers and buying fresh food every day from farmers like we used to, this isn't something that would need to be created by them, and we're supporting small businesses. So Naiva, I know you covered the article, but do you have anything to add from your own personal perspective?
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, for my own self, like I kind of added in when I was reading the article is, you know, I really try, if I have to buy something that isn't organic, then I try to clean it, you know, the best way that I can. I try to stay away from the dirty dozen. And, you know, we all are just doing our very best. And personally, with this label, when I do shop at Costco, I've been just looking out for it and trying to avoid it. I really don't want to. I don't know what it is, and I'd rather just know more. And so that's why we keep bringing it up in our meetings, is so that we can learn together and we can really just dive in and educate each other. That's what we're all about here, is just learning what we know and educating others. And, you know, so we can all do our own homework and figure out if it's something that we align with or not. I personally don't align with it, and I won't be trying to consume it for my family until I know a lot more about it and feel safe about it. But personally, I doubt that it's an organic procedure that they use to create this label. And even if it is plant-based, like I mentioned earlier, I don't think that it can be washed off, and it's probably contains GMO ingredients. So those are some of my personal concerns and why I will be avoiding it.
Thanks. And thanks to the whole council for chiming in. And I can see the chat is running like crazy. And so I don't have time, nor can I see the comments, but I just appreciate the whole field chiming in here. And remember, you know, we wash our fruits and veggies. I personally soak them in a baking soda bath for 20 minutes. I rinse them until they're squeaky clean. I dry them, but I don't know if I can get this off. And the reason why I do that with washing my foods is because I even do that with the foods that I don't eat the skins of, like avocados, because when you run a knife through it, everything is transferring from the outside of the food into the food via the blade. So it's just something to think about. We get to just have this information and empower ourselves with it. So thank you so much to all of the council members and everybody that's adding their into the comments. And I know that, like, you know, people say things, you know, this is evil and that is evil, and we can really rage against the machine. But I think what we're trying to do here at the Million Mom Movement Council is, instead of raging against the system, we're trying to change the trajectory of the system and create new systems. And that's how we're going to empower ourselves, because we can be angry all day long about this, or we can do something about it and help educate others. And that's exactly why we're here. So with that, let's transition to the next section of our cookbook. So thanks for pulling that up, Naiva. We're going to be going through desserts, appetizers, soups, and salads in this next section. And our third and final section next week is going to be the entrees and desserts. So we've been working hard in the background. Our fearless leader here, Naiva, has been also spending hours and hours getting the links ready, because I know everybody's chomping at the bit to see these recipes. So let's start with dressings and sauces. We're going to go through a little bit quicker, but I am going to invite my council member to chime in on some of these. So this first section, we're really talking about some of the sauces that are for different things in the cookbook that can also stand alone for your own creation. So we really want you to tag us when you make these recipes and show us your own unique creations. And don't forget that it's there's also a hashtag for the company, which is hashtag PHP Live Work Play. So you can hashtag us along with that this month. So this is amazing. It's an apothecary vinaigrette. This was served at Diamond Club. Some of you may have even used this in your live events. So let's go through the first few, Naeva, and then I'll invite the council to chime in on if they've used any of these. We have a biofruit marinade, which is absolutely amazing. You can marinate your kebabs here, and really anything, to tell you the truth. So marinades are wonderful and can be used in different ways. Tahini dressing, we all have used tahini dressing perhaps in one way or another. This is fantastic because it has our Can't Beat This in it, and it's much less inflammatory version of this. So maybe one or two more, and then we'll pass it to the council. The Can't Beat This dressing, also something I think that was served at Diamond Club. I don't remember, but man, that Can't Beat This goes in just about everything. And this is delicious with the with salads and all kinds of veggies. And then the creamy avocado, which is one of my favorites. Sometimes I don't even put this in the blender. I just mash an avocado, put everything in the bowl with my salad and mix it all up. And it is certainly a favorite. And then we have the cranberry superfood sauce. So let's pause here and I'll invite the council to just chime in on one of these favorites that they have used and see if we can come up with some new stuff that we haven't heard yet.
Okay, I'll start. Okay, so Michelle, do you want to go to the first one, the apothecary dressing?
Yeah, Naeva's on the joystick here. So, but yep, you got it.
Perfect. Okay, so I will share ways to use this as well. Of course, you can use it on your salads. I love using this recipe on Brussels sprouts. Okay, if you coat this on Brussels sprouts and you put it in the oven, they are delicious. And I live an oil-free household. So if you want to switch up the olive oil, you can use vegetable broth or a mushroom broth as well. Okay, just mix it really well. And there's different types of oils. You have a hemp oil, you have avocado oil. So just play with which oil works for you, or no oil as well. Okay, can we go to the creamy avocado? So the tahini dressing and the creamy avocado, I love making myself and my family kelp noodles. Okay, this is one of my favorite recipes, and kelp noodles are essentially raw, right? And you need to pack in all the nutrition. And I love eating functional foods and packing in all the nutrition in my food. So what I do with that, I use a creamy avocado dressing to toss that, and I can let that sit. And that is great for picnics. If you're going to someone's house, it's great cold. I love doing that as well with a tahini dressing. Yes, you can do it with zucchini noodles as well. I mean, there's so many things you can do. For me, kelp noodles are one of my favorite because it really mimics ramen noodles. It looks like real noodles, and people don't even have no clue they're having this delicious seaweed full of iodine and all of delicious, health benefits. So those are my takes. Anyone else?
Well, we're talking here about some of my favorite products in our line. And like Tess says, I've used these on different kinds of salads too, like the apothecary one. I love it with the, it's like a summer salad with strawberries, mint, feta, if you do have cheese, or vegan feta, and olives. It's so delicious when you toss that. My kids just devoured it. And we're talking about the biofruit, which has so many benefits there. Cranberry, apple, pomegranate, lemon, pineapple, mango, blackberry, blueberry, acai, beetroot, acerola, currant, goji, cranberry, strawberry, raspberry. I mean, if you were to cook alone with that, it's just good luck chopping in the kitchen. It's a lot of work. So we have these powders that are great raw, great for salad dressings. So many people are still stuck in buying these expensive bottles that have terrible ingredients. Just stop, and there's always a debate about which oils to use, which are healthy. Should we cook with them at all? How everybody's talking about how it really affects the gut. Well, unfortunately, we do no longer have the tropic oil. So it was hit, the company actually shared that last week. But we do recommend that you do go out and get really quality cold pressed organic coconut oil, or like Todd said, hemp oil and avocado oils are great to use. And also, if you look at the lifestyle guide or the list that we have for Purium, it's listed there, what's acceptable and what is good. So always refer to that. What else is here? People always ask, okay, well, what about sweeteners? Well, in our Sad to Rad, we have a guide there about what is good. Agave is okay. Honey, raw honey is a little bit better as far as it working with your sugar glucose levels. It doesn't spike as much, and it's much more whole. And what else? Let's move forward. I just love that we're encouraging everybody to make things more at home. And that's what we want to see. And hashtag us, please, because if you look at all over the social media platforms, you do see.
Oops, it looks like Carmela froze. Thanks, Carmela.
Because it's a root, it's so easy.
What?
Yeah, I was thinking on the.
Oops, sorry about that. Carmela, you froze a little bit there.
Go ahead.
And I want to pick up where she left off on the Sad to Rad flip book is going to be included in all of this. And when you're looking for oils, a lot of times even olive oil is mixed with other oils and it's not pure. So if you want to find the cleanest version that you can find, flip over the bottle and look for lot and batch numbers like you would a fine bottle of wine, because there are multiple oils mixed in and filler oils mixed into oils. Carmela, you're freezing a little bit on and off. So is there something that you wanted to add before we move on?
No, go ahead. Let's move on.
Okay. All right, let's go through the next section of dressings and see what else is here. We've got a green goddess dressing. Again, the avocado mashed in makes it almost Caesar-y, like a Caesar, not Caesar, I don't think that's a word, like a Caesar salad. And this one happens to have dill and honey. And let's go through maybe 3 or 4 or 5 of them. The hummus trio, this was a huge hit at Diamond Club last year when the original council came and made lots of ingredients and different recipes for the field to try during our superfood social. So maybe Naiva could speak to this. We've got the peanut sauce, which, you know, who doesn't love a good peanut sauce? So many things to use it on. Again, you're seeing at the top, it says organic ingredients. We did that because we didn't want to repeat that every ingredient. We always recommend organic, especially when it comes to some of the more heavily sprayed things. Like peanuts, for example. Are there any more in this section, Naiva?
Yeah, there is a couple more. I just wanted to speak to the hummus trio real quick because this was a huge hit at Diamond Club, like you mentioned. And so the idea here is that you make a big batch of hummus and then you can break it up into 3 sections and you can make the other 2 variations. And so down here at the bottom, you'll see that one variation, you just add some can't beat this to the hummus mix. And the second option for the green one is to mix the barley green juice powder with a mashed avocado to the green option. And so it makes it really simple to make 3. You don't have to make 3 separate batches of hummus. You're making one big batch, separating it into 3, and then adding in the additional flavors. And this is really great because it gives people alternatives. It's great for healthy happy hours, or we're going into summer. Maybe you're going to have birthday parties or barbecues or different things coming up. And so there's a great way to introduce people to the superfoods that we have without it being in a smoothie or a green drink, right? People often think, oh, well, you know, I don't do powders, or I don't do, you know, protein shakes, things like that. We all have heard that before. And so this gives you an opportunity to mix it into something that you can bring to an outing or a party or somewhere where you can share it with others. And then this peanut sauce, I personally love peanut sauce. We often make summer rolls. So further along in this recipe book, we have a couple variations of summer rolls to go along with this. And so, you know, we want to invite you to just experiment. This is also a vegan version. Oftentimes peanut sauce will have fish, I don't know, it's not fish oil, but there's like a fish sauce that you put in it. And so with this one, it just calls for soy sauce. And of course, anything soy, make sure it's organic, as soybeans are heavily, you know, sprayed. And then we have a really yummy green salsa. And this one is, it's just great to have all these different flavors to go along with your food. So not every recipe in here is going to include Purium products, but you can always play around with different flavors. If you think that you would like a little green spectrum in here, or some barley green juice, or kamut, or any of the different options, you can always play around with it, add in some different flavors, maybe even some bio fruit, you know, to give it a little bit of that sweet taste. We want to hit all the taste buds. And so, you know, you can play around with these recipes and enhance them even more. And I'll go through a few more because we do have a few more recipes. There's a nut-free pesto. So for those of you who are staying away from nuts, you just go really heavy on the greens, and you can add lots of different greens to pesto. Oftentimes we just think of basil being in pesto, but you can add in mustard greens to give it a little spice, some arugula, you know, some garlic greens, onion greens, purslane, you know, use what you have and just make it delicious. And then when you put the garlic, coconut oil, lemon, that's what really brings that pesto-y, yummy, creamy feeling to it. So you can make pesto without nuts or seeds. And then further along, here we have 2 tahini dressings. I love this on like a Buddha bowl, or I often use it on my salads when I'm super busy. And what I love about our little blenders that we get from Purium is I often will make salad dressing in those blenders. I can just throw all the ingredients in my little blender, blend it up, pour it over my salad, and I'm good to go. And I can jar up the rest. Many of these recipes can be saved for up to a week in the refrigerator. So I always make plenty so that I don't have to make it every time I'm going to have a salad, or every time I'm going to have some roasted vegetables or a Buddha bowl. You can just go ahead and make enough to last you a few days. And then we have one more.
Like the ones they have at Dillard's.
Oh, can you make it out? Thank you. And so we have another vegan pesto. This one does have some seeds and nuts in it. So we just wanted to give you options and variations, so that way you don't feel like, oh, well, this one doesn't work for me. We have the nut-free one as well. So I'll go ahead and pass it back to you, Michelle. And we're almost done with sauces.
Yeah, so we'll go through these next couple of pages and move on to the next section. Just for the sake of time, we won't be able to go over all of these with you, but we are going to be releasing the links to this cookbook. So just hearing us talk about the different ways that we're using them, and knowing that you have a lot of options here. So are you missing ranch because you're vegan? What a great way to have a ranch dressing or a vegan cheese dressing. We're using raw soaked cashews, and again, nuts are going to be a very high mold crop. So we'll always want to make sure we're getting organic, so that they're not heavily sprayed and then soaking them before consuming them, because they are difficult on the digestive tract. So appetizers and sides. Let's move through a couple of slides, and then I'll pass it back so that some of the council members can go through some of their favorites. Super excited to look at the avocado baked fries. I love sweet potato fries. I love sweet potato as an option to regular potatoes. They're more nutrient dense. We've got a chickpea tuna salad. For those who are missing the tuna salad, green almond crackers, which have been a favorite, maybe a couple more. And then I'd love to know in the council who has tried 1 or 2 of these recipes and how they use them in the daily or with their families. So Taz or Carmela?
Harm, do you want to start?
I can. Go ahead, Tess. Please go ahead.
So I have done the crackers with the Power Shake, and we just spoke about all the dips. So it's the perfect pairing. You prepare it for after school, because after school, that's when the kids are the most hungry. So I always bring in a little container with my crackers, and I just give it to the kids in the back seat, and I'm like, enjoy. I don't have to worry about them spoiling their appetite before supper. I know they're getting the most nutrition, because you know, when you pick them up and they're super hungry, they become super fussy, right? Have we all dealt with this? I deal with it on a daily basis, even though they eat so much in school, right? So I make all of the crackers. And what I love about that, I can prepare it on Sunday and I can use it for the entire week, right? Because preparation equals success, right? And it makes our life so much easier. Okay, so can we go through it and I'll say which one I've used? Okay, so the pão de queijo. Okay, so I am Brazilian, and this is a cheese bread that I grew up loving, okay? And it's naturally gluten-free. And when I became plant-based vegan, I had to come up with a recipe to make it nutrient dense and delicious. And this is super easy to make. So I just use the flax, the fiber blend, tapioca flour. So tapioca flour and manioc flour are the same. So use either one. Potato starch, find an organic version, salt, baking powder, and I love to use the Mayoko cheese. You can use the Violife cheese as well, cashew milk, but of course, use any alternative milk, coconut oil, anyone that you can find, and this is so delicious. And again, this can be frozen, and when your kids want it, you just pop it into the oven, and it is soft and delicious and ooey gooey. Okay, can we go through more? The summer rolls, this pairs perfectly with all of our dips, our kebabs. I mean, everything there. It's impossible for you guys to come to us and say, well, what recipe? What do we feed our kids? We are presenting you with all of the options. And if you're on a transformation, or if you're not, if you're just living this lifestyle that we're all living, you can bring these to summer picnics. You can bring these to friends and families' houses. Let them start tasting what you've been living, that you've been enjoying, so they can have these flavors in their mouths as well, right? Because a lot of times they don't even know all the nutrition that they're eating. But when you tell them after, then they're surprised. They're like, wow, we had no idea there was so much nutrition packed into that. It just tastes so good, right? Okay, to you, Carmela.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more, Taz. I have the same problem when the kids come home. They're either really, you don't know where they're at with their day, like if they loved what they ate that day, if they felt like eating. So when you're prepared with sauces that are really delicious, like the pestos, I love making fresh pesto, because if you have a couple handfuls of nuts per week, it reduces the risk of heart disease. And this is really what we want to incorporate, also raw protein for our kids. When they're hungry, we can put them into our recipes. So yes, like Taz said, also, like some of these things are really just great to have out ready, and they're very spring friendly. So it's our season. I just had my son's birthday and I did a whole mukbang of like fresh fruits and vegetables and raw nuts, and the kids, it's like, it was empty. And it was really because it's tantalizing. I love the summer rolls and the lettuce wraps. I use them on a regular in my house because they're fresh. They're super simple. They're very full of flavor because the herbs. I love including radishes and sprouts, tofu if you eat tofu, green onions. And typically it's a very Asian dish. And so when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is the best way to then make it from home. So it's really the ginger, the garlic, the cocoa aminos, which is what a lot of people said in place of the soy sauce. Those are the ones I go to. And I love mung bean sprouts. What else do we have here? I've never tried the quinoa or the Brazilian one. I'm gonna try the green almond crackers. So there's so much that we can play with here. And really making it from scratch, do it with the kids. And really it's its own project in itself. Like what's the next ingredient? Can you be responsible for that one? Do we have everything we need? It's so much fun to cook with the kids. And these are so simple that when they come out, the product that we get is so delicious. They're like, I made that. So Yes, if you're not already cooking fully with your children, my daughter started when she was about 8, 9 years old, fully cooking. And I saw these great cooking shows, guys, for children where they actually compete. And some of these kids cook like 2 meals a day. So that's in a week, 14 meals. That's really amazing. And you're setting themselves up for life skills. You're also teaching them how to read labels. You're also teaching them the importance of each individual ingredient in nutrition. So when you're just looking over these different recipes, do it with your family.
I love that, Carmela. And it's so important. You know, I remember cooking with my mom. I still cook today. And somebody says, how do you make something? I'm like, well, it's a pinch of this. And it's a, you know, there's these styles that inherit. And we remember that as we get older. And so it's a chance to connect in a very disconnected world where we're trying to be separated from our innate intelligence. And so it's just yet another way that we get to connect with our children and instill these principles and also really cultivate that lasting relationship long after we're gone and leave the legacy that we're really wanting to create here with the education that we're bringing forward. How can you make an avocado any more perfect? I mean, I just love avocados the way they are. We were debating whether to keep this one in, but I really like the idea and I haven't tried it yet. I don't know if any of the other council members have. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm going to make I'm going to use plant-based milk instead of flax eggs, and I'm going to make the avocado milk myself here with good organic avocado, not avocados, almonds. I'll make the almond milk myself with good almonds and you know, see what I'll use for the coating. I just think it could be so great to bite into something crunchy and have it soft in the middle, almost like a French fry, but a little different. So let us know if you've tried this. I don't think, has anybody on the council tried this recipe yet? No.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
No, I have.
yeah, please
Yeah.
let me know.
And even if you don't have the fiber blend for the coating, you can use cassava flour. That works excellent.
Great. Are they delicious, crunchy and creamy in the middle and like just like nothing you've ever had before or what?
Put them in an air fryer and make sure your air fryer is not Teflon coated. So I put it in there and it's super easy while I'm on the go, you know, super busy. I just put it inside, I prep it, I keep it in the fridge. And as soon as the kids want it, I just throw it in the air fryer.
I'm fascinated with this recipe. Thanks, Tuss. All right, we've got just a few more minutes. Let's see if we can get through another section here. I'm very excited about the possibility. You know, one of the biggest things with going vegan and clean and gluten-free is I miss the crunch sometimes, especially like on long road trips where, you know, that salty, crunchy feeling. So I'm really looking forward to the crackers and the flatbread. If you try any of these recipes, please tag us and let us know how it goes. Summer
I just
rolls.
wanted to share real quick about this one.
Oh.
Sorry, Michelle.
Go ahead, go for it.
I know we're
Thank you.
short on time and we got to fly through the recipes, but on what I love about summer rolls is you can prepare all of these vegetables and you can actually store them. So I've actually tried to make summer rolls and save them, but oftentimes the rice paper will end up kind of decomposing and falling apart. And so what you can do is you can prepare all these ingredients because it can feel a little bit heavy on the prep. Then what I like to do is prep plenty of the carrots, the cucumbers, you know, have all of my mint and cilantro and basil leaves ready. And then you can go ahead and make these and you can have some of the leftover ingredients that you make these another day, or you can make the summer rolls again. But however you do it, these ingredients are interchangeable in both. And so you'll see in this one, we have like beets along with the carrots. I love putting beets into my summer rolls as well as sometimes in my lettuce wraps. So you can interchange the ingredients a little bit. I just wanted to throw that out there. And then we have some fun party platters. And then this one I wanted to just share a little bit about. I threw this in there because I found this recipe online and I thought it was so creative that they're literally using all things that we would consider weeds in our yard. So make sure that your yard isn't sprayed with chemicals, number one. And if you live somewhere where you have lots of growth in your yard or around your yard, you might look for some of the edibles that are there. And there's some cool apps where you can scan the leaves and make sure, see what it is. But I thought this was so creative. You just grab a bunch of greens. Maybe you're using greens that you have in your fridge, but alternatively, you can use all of these different chickweed or, wild arugula, Mediterranean mustard, black mustard, wood sorrel, all these different things that might grow in your yard, which I thought was so creative as it's springtime and we have so many fun, clover leaves even often are out there, or dandelion leaves, right? So just be creative with the weeds that are actually food and medicine that grow around us. So I wanted to put this in there just because I thought it was so creative and fun. And I know how much we are always just trying to find the local freshest ingredients, and what's more local or more fresh than harvesting it in your yard to make a wrap.
Love
This
that.
is also one of my favorite recipes. I often make a beet salad. Even my kids love it. If you're not vegan, you could add a goat cheese to this. That's how we like to enjoy it sometimes. And so there's so many fun ways to spruce up the beets and make them delicious. And then you can also use one of our beet vinaigrettes, which we have again here. But we have several other in the sauces and dressing sections. So you can play around with these different ingredients, these different recipes, and also combine it with some of the other sauces as well. And I'll pass it back to you, Michelle, and just kind of scroll through this section.
Yeah, these salads are amazing and they're so endless. I mean, we had so many submissions and there's so many versions of each of these. I mean, I don't know if you remember on Seinfeld, Elaine was always big on the big salads. She used to just have big salads. And I'm like that too. I build my salads in layers. I'll eat half of it at one time and half another time. And I just get all those flavors all the way down with every bite. And so there's some pretty amazing salads in here. One of them is probably coming up is the cucumber salad. I make this almost every other day here. I love it with the olives and the celery and the carrot. You could grate the beets like we talked about on some of the other ones. This is a good one to add the green spectrum to. We have rainbow salads, all these different salads, and you compare them with just about any one of the dressings that we covered earlier. Has anybody, speaking of that wild, I really love all of the sandwiches because like Taz said, you can literally roll those up and put them in a container and have them, they really store very well and they translate into lunch boxes and into the car and quick grab and goes. And there's so many versions of those wraps. And put an 8 in the comment if you guys have ever had dandelion. I used to go in my grandmother's yard and pick dandelion on the way to my Uncle Murphy's on Sundays. We would stop and pick gardoons and chard off the side of the road with my grandmother. So there is so purslane, it's like grows in the cracks of your sidewalks. There's medicine and plant medicine all around you. And oftentimes you're living in a place where the plants that are growing wild will actually benefit you. And that's might be why you were attracted to the area. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So many recipes to go through. We're in the soup sections now. And I want to make sure we have enough time for call to action today. And so khichdi, Thai coconut curry, maybe we can kind of cruise through these hearty soups and then I'll pass it back to Taz and Carmela to see if they can share about one more recipe each from the soup section or the salad section.
Can we go
Taz,
back?
Carmela? Yeah, go for it.
It was too fast for me.
Yeah. Let's flip back.
Oh, I mean, we have so many great recipes. Okay, for all of the salads, have you guys seen on Instagram, they have this thing called cowboy salad. So it's just for like any sporting event. It's just like all of the ingredients together from like cabbage, all of your greens, everything all together. They make these huge salads, like what Michelle was talking about. They throw in all of the ingredients. It could be all your leftovers. Just throw it in there and just make one of our dressings. And then you can use one of our crackers to dip it up, right? That's the whole concept of the cowboy salad. just use like a tortilla chip to like dip it up. But instead of a tortilla chip that the corn is probably GMO corn, switch to something super healthy. So if the kids are like, I don't want to dip and you just want to snack on a cracker, you're like, it's okay. Do what you feel is right today. So can we scroll through it? Let me see what else do we have?
Soups or salads?
Both. Oh, the papaya salads, like all of this, you can just put into a wrap as well. Like what Michelle was saying, I have a really easy ingredient for a wrap that's coconut flour and psyllium husk, and that's it, and filtered water. And it's like the softest flatbread. So you can just add that inside. That is more high fat content, protein, so good for you. And just wrap it up and add any of these things. And I love that all of these salads are actually better the next day, right? Okay, let's look at the soups.
We're gonna go ahead and pass actually to Carmela so we can wrap up, Taz. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much. I want you to share one more about what you do, Carm, and then we're gonna go right to call to action. So we'll pass it right back to you, Taz.
Okay. Yeah, well, thank you for round robining this, because it's so fun to talk about how we incorporate these as Million Mom Movement moms here. Because when we saw these ingredients, when I first started 3 years ago, I saw our website, I saw the recipe section, and then I started coaching my clients to start to incorporate these superfoods into ingredients into our recipes. So salads are, I think, the easiest way because it's flex food. It's also a great coaching tool to throw in superfoods with your flex foods. Are you coaching that right now? Some of you are not. And so when we are thinking about the recipes with the dips, I mean, that's what makes everything more delicious. So the soups as well. So for macrobiotic eaters or people who eat by the season, warming foods is really important for those constitutions who require a little bit more heat in their tummies when it's cold weather. So soups are really great. Some of them are raw here. But it's just simple beet salads, cucumber salads. They're so hydrating. Fruit and vegetables are primarily water. And so this is what we're doing when we're detoxifying, cleansing our intestinal tract of parasites, of the chemicals that are laden, like that we all have been talking about. The squashes, this is root vegetables. It's really healing for the gut lining. So when we're really thinking about this as medicine, let's look at carrot juice plus adding there. Where can we add carrot juice plus into our recipes, into our sauces, into our salads? How can we just throw it in and taste it? Like I go through each individual powder, I just taste it. And then I think like, what can I create with it? What can I add to it? Like we showed something with tahini. We showed things with the peanut. These are not what you might imagine immediately. So this is why this cookbook gives you ideas. So yeah, let's go to call to action. And I'm so excited to get this section of our cookbook released, and on to you, Taz.
Thank you. So, at the Million Mom Movement, we're always talking about toxicity and glyphosate and what to avoid. But we actually have some products that do not contain glyphosate. And when we found out, we had to speak about it, right? So we're showing you all kinds of options to share with your kids, your families, post-school snacks. But you know what happens as well? We have a lot of picky eaters. I know, I have them. And sometimes they want an on-the-go bar, right? It happens. And it's nice to mix it up for the kids and for ourselves. So we found that there is a bar called Onnit Bar. I think we've spoken about them a couple of times before, that they have no detect of glyphosate. And this makes us super happy. So the Onnit Protein Vanilla Almond Bar does not have glyphosate. So let's celebrate them, right? Instead of complaining all the time, we are going to be celebrating companies that are doing what we stand for and stand by. So let's go to the first post. And they're talking about their protein bites. So here we will write, it has been brought to our attention that Own It protein bars, vanilla almond has no glyphosate detected per the Detox Project report, the poison in our daily bread. These snack bars do not contain a toxic herbicide, glyphosate. And we've been reaching out to companies to address these issues. And as a group of concerned parents at the Million Mom Movement, we would like to thank you. So let's celebrate them. And you can screenshot this and repost it and then tag us. And then we will be resharing yours as well. So let's close out the call and I will share it back to you, Carmela.
Oops, you're on mute. Do
Oh, sorry about that.
you want
I'm
to go ahead and read it for us today, Carmela?
Yes, I can go ahead and read. So I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement. And so guys, we're really excited to bring to you our Lunch and Learn next week. Are you able to see this? This is the Facebook group. So I'm going to share it in the chat so that you guys can participate and share this invitation on. We're talking about gut health. So Taz and I have some stories ourselves, but also stories from the field that we'd love to connect you to. And yes, please click going and spread this word on. So I'm going to share that right now in the group chat. And again, I'd love to share how you can find us. So we are reachable all over the platforms that you see here. Facebook, we've got two groups, the official group and the Facebook official group. And you could find us at Million Mom Movement or join our Facebook group at Million Mom Movement Official. Our group will give you access to tons of resources there, including things that we've been referencing here on our Zooms, on our YouTube channel. So our Instagram is at Million Mom Movement as well. And you can always hashtag making these great recipes like we've recommended to you to do at hashtag Million Mom Movement, hashtag I am the Million Mom Movement, or hashtag we are the Million Mom Movement. We also are on Twitter at the Million Mom Movement, and our YouTube replays can all be found when you look at Million Mom Movement, and subscribe please if you've not already. So next week, we're coming to you with our third and last section of our cookbook, which is the recipes for the desserts and entrees. So actually we saved the best for last in a way. It's the heart of the meals and it's the fun ending to meals if you want. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you at our Lunch and Learn and next Friday as well. Thanks again for coming. Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, I want to thank you. Yeah, thanks
you.
everyone on the council. And by joining these groups, you'll be able to get the links to the recipe book, and one is going to link to the other. They're all going to have sad to rat in it. Remember, we're always recommending organic ingredients and looking for high quality foods and fruits and veggies from your farmers. And we just want to thank each and every one of you for helping us grow and for being such an important part of our mission. Thanks again, everyone.